everybody. PinstripeChronicles podcast, your best source for the most entertaining take on the Yankees. I am Tats. I am here with Rob and Donald. And we left off yesterday's show wanting to get into this with a lot more time for detail and give it some attention. And that's Miguel Andujar being sent down. And it was a big hot topic on social media throughout over the weekend. And there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction. Some people were like, all right, that was the move that had to be made. And, what else were you going to do? And I kind of think the latter is what's true. It was the move that needed to be made. He had the minor league options. I think that's his last option that he's allowed to get. So if they call him back up, we know that when they call him up, he ain't going anywhere unless he gets traded. He asked for a trade from he did ask for a trade before going back down from Boone. Do you think that Miguel Andujar, to start it off, was his efforts ignored by the Yankees because of other guys that they were contractually obligated to? Or was this just, somebody had to go type of thing?
So first of all, I want to ask, why did that move have to be made? Why do you feel that Andujar had to be the one that had to be sent down, regardless of his options?
It's too early in the season. Nobody's going to be really making trades this early, especially to any magnitude where it comes to Hicks and Gallo. So I kind of think the Yankees were handcuffed. It was the move they had no choice to make. They weren't going to send down an arm. They've been valuing that. The bullpen's already thin with three guys already injured from their bullpen that were a key piece to it. So the outfield depth was they had enough depth for outfield players that's where you needed to make the adjustment on the roster, and he was the one with the option to be sent down. So that's why I kind of feel like that was the move to make.
But the Angels DFA Justin Upton, who has an awful contract, and they just washed their hands of the guy. Why couldn't the Yankees wash their hands of Aaron Hicks?
That's another good, that's another option that could have been made. I just don't. I think the Yankees are going to want something out of it. And as much as we've been giving Cashman a lot of credit, it was that's Cashman's boys and Hicks. Hicks is going to be given every opportunity to that he can get.
Right, but that doesn't excuse it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm just trying to. I'm trying to figure out, because my first reaction was all these teams are dumping money because they're more willing to succeed than save their piggy bank. And I think that's one of they had a way out right there to just say with either Hicks or Gallo, all right, the experiment didn't work, let's move forward. And they didn't take that opportunity. So I think in that aspect, they were wrong, like what you were saying. Just let them go. Just suck it up and play your best option. They didn't do that.
But you're talking cross purposes. So what is it that you actually believe? Because you're saying that he has to be sent down. It was, it just happens. It's the crunch. But you also then just said that, they probably should have just gotten rid of Hicks. So which one is it that you actually believe?
I think the trade market needs to be built up a little bit before they go into that second option of just releasing somebody. Get something back for it.
What can you get for Aaron?
That's the exact reason why they're not going to trade Aaron Hicks. They're not going to move on from Aaron Hicks. They want something for him. They're not going to get anything for him. It's very, very easy for us as fans to say, cut Aaron Hicks, get rid of him. Here's the thing, though. The Angels cut Upton. They're not a very good team, and that was before the season. But the Yankees are winning right now, so they're not going to go ahead and make these moves for the sake of making them. I want Andujar on the roster. I despise Aaron Hicks. I want him gone. But I also said on Twitter it was the obvious move, because if you cut Aaron Hicks, you got to go through the waiver wire and hope that somebody gives you something for him. How much money are we going to have to eat to trade him? Blah, blah, blah. Are we going to pay this guy for the next 4 years to not play for us, and someone's just going to pick him up for a penny on the open market and we get nothing back? You don't move on from Joey Gallo just yet because you hope that he can start hitting home runs and then he builds his value between now and the trade deadline. But in terms of Aaron Hicks, I think that's my opinion. That's the reason why they didn't make the move, because they'd have to hopefully engage somebody. Hey, what can you give me for Aaron Hicks? And the other GM's going to laugh at you. You want me to give you something for this guy? You got to eat pretty much most of his contract and hope you get something back for him. Now, would a team do that? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. And I don't want to say something and people think that I hate Miguel Andujar, because I wanted this guy playing third base in 2017 over Todd Frazier. And just people are acting like Andujar was tearing the cover off the ball. He was hitting, yes, but when you compare him to what Aaron Hicks was doing, he looked leaps and bounds better. But the Yankees are going to look at Aaron Hicks and say, switch hitter, he can play center, he can play left, he can run, which even though he doesn't really do any of those things very well, they're not going to get rid of Carpenter because he's already hit 4 home runs. He's been more productive than any of these 3 guys we're talking about. And Gallo, you don't move on from him just yet because you want to at least hope that he starts hitting home runs. And by Gleyber Torresing him and moving him to right, shuffling the outfield, that you can get something, you can get him to do more than what he's been doing. The easy thing for us to say is Andujar in left, Hicks is gone. That's the easy option.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of this from what the Yankees are thinking. If they wanted to move on from Aaron Hicks, they would have done it by now. So if they're not going to do it yet, when will they do it? If at any time this season? Maybe if they start losing games. If we were in the position where the Red Sox are, where we're 500 on the outside looking in, but still alive, maybe they would make that move and say, you know what, screw it. We got to do something. But right now, with the best record in baseball and with a full lineup, we've already been able to survive with a bad Aaron Hicks. Maybe now's not the right time to do it, even though I would like them to do it. I'd much rather have Andujar in left field. So I don't want
here's the predicament, though. I mean, the thing is, if you say you package Aaron Hicks or you package Joey Gallo, you're not going to get an Andujar in return. Joey Gallo has very minimal value right now, but is higher than Aaron Hicks' value, which is absolutely nothing. You'll be lucky to get a bottle of water for Aaron Hicks. The truth is, Aaron Hicks is the least productive center fielder, both offensively and defensively, in baseball right now. That is just a fact. So, and Duhar could easily just slot in left field, and Aaron Judge can play center field, and then job done. There's nothing to worry about. And you could rotate Andujar. I'm just saying that Andujar is a major league bat. I think it's disgraceful that he's been sent down. It's screwing with his career. And you know what? Congratulations, good for him for standing up, because he's been screwed around too much. Let's stop puffing up the Yankees all the time. They've had a great year, but the way that they've treated Andujar is kind of shitty. He was second in the Rookie of the Year voting. In fact, I would have said that he probably should have been Rookie of the Year. And then his defense at third base wasn't up to scratch. So the Yankees then kind of brought in Gio Urshela to compete with him, and then ended up just taking his job anyway. Then they've sent down Andujar and then told him to change position, which he'd done. Then they had to told him his defense wasn't good enough in left field. He had to improve it, which he's done. And all the while have to improve offensively, and surprise, surprise, which he's done. And so then the Yankees call him up. He's been excellent. He's been more productive than Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks has in a year and a half, and or Aaron Hicks in about 4 years. And the reason why Andujar is so pissed off is because he knows that. He knows it better than me. He knows it better than you. He knows it better than Tats. He knows it better than Brian Cashman. He's been much more productive than Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks, and he's been part of a roster crunch purely, but not for performance reasons, but because monetary reasons. And the fact that Brian Cashman won't admit to his mistake. He made a mistake with the Joey Gallo trade. It's a mistake. It's a semi-colossal disaster. And his Aaron Hicks contract is even more of a disaster. And what the predicament is, if you trade Andujar now, which he deserves to be traded because he doesn't deserve to be sitting in Triple A's for too good a bat. If you trade him now, and then later on in June or July, as you guys are pointing out, you're not going to get anything equitable to what Andujar can provide. So that's the predicament. So I think what the Yankees should be doing is DFAing Aaron Hicks. They've got the money; they can afford to eat his contract, and if the Angels can afford to DFA Justin Upton, then the Yankees can afford to DFA Aaron Hicks, and then have a good starting left fielder, and then wait out the market and see if Benintendi becomes available.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what's distorting the whole situation is the fact that you have other teams that are in such a bad spot that they're going, they're eating the money and they're letting these players go. And we've never known the Yankees have had a lot of players that, weren't making monstrous contracts, but just weren't living up to their contract. This is kind of a new thing. We haven't seen players get released the way they have been this year. And we want the Yankees to change who they are to be somebody else. Where this year, part of the success is they're back to just doing it their way, not listening to everybody else, not following.
But they're winning in spite of Aaron Hicks. They're winning in spite of Aaron Hicks. So you might as well have Andujar. He just had 3 hits and he got sent down to Scranton.
We can't expect the Yankees just because somebody else is doing it. Well, if you do it, I'm going to do it. When it comes to the financial aspect of running a team, that doesn't always work for every team. Even though the Yankees could easily absorb and afford to take a loss on the players, that's not their MO. That's not how they operate. We can't expect them to keep pivoting their operation.
Okay, so if we follow your tact, what should they do? What are they going to do? Are they going to trade Andujar?
I don't think they are. I don't think they're going to trade him.
Well, that's unfair on the guy. You're just going to have him sit in AAA?
Yeah. I'm not saying it's the best thing move to make, but it might. Do I want them? I would rather see him on a team playing than sitting down in the minor leagues just waiting for somebody to get hurt.
Right.
But my instinct is telling me that from watching this team, throughout the years, they're not. That's not a move they're going to make unless they get an offer that blows them out of the water. One option that everybody kept bringing, we'll trade him for Benintendi, trade him for, okay, well, now you have another outfielder that you have to find a space for. So you're not solving the problem. You're not solving the problem. You're adding to it.
If they traded for Benintendi, he easily becomes the left fielder, and Aaron Hicks is a lost memory. And Benintendi is leaps and bounds better than Andujar. And I don't want to sound like I'm crushing Andujar. Benintendi is a much better player than any of these guys we've talked about today. So if they made a move that included Andujar to get Benintendi, then Aaron Hicks becomes basically your 4th outfielder. And you do have a crunch to make because now do you move Aaron Hicks? I think they want to try and trade him. They're going to have to eat money one way or the other. That's what I think they want to do, in which case, if they move him, Andujar comes back up. But he doesn't deserve this. And you're absolutely right. I don't blame him one bit for wanting to be traded. I would have wanted out too. If this is how you're treating me, I've already proved I can hit. I've proved now I can handle left field, at least better than what you were getting from Gallo or Hicks.
Yep, exactly.
I want a shot because he's only got like 2 years left on arbitration before he hits free agency. He doesn't really have a career to go on to get a good payday. So he wants, from this point forward, to be a major league player. So when he does hit free agency, he can get paid better than what he would right now. Because right now, he'd be lucky to sign a 1 or 2 year deal in free agency with the team. He needs a chance to play every day. He should get it right here. He should get it here. I'm saying this.
Point.
I'll keep saying it. He should get it here. But I'm trying to take my fan cap off for a second and think, what are the Yankees trying to do? Because if no one's going to give you anything for Aaron Hicks right now, if you wanted to cut him, you would have done it already. So that's why they sent Andujar down. That's what I'm from the Yankees' perspective. Do I like it? No. Do I agree with it? No. But do I understand it? Yes. I don't like it one bit. I don't like Aaron Hicks. I can live with Joey Gallo batting 9th and playing right field if he starts hitting home runs again. I can live with that. I can't live with Aaron Hicks coming up every single time with a runner on base and popping out and then lazily running in left field and getting thrown out at second base, getting picked off with a huge freaking lead. Everything he does pisses me off. I can live with Joey Gallo striking out because I know that's the player he is. I know he's better than what we're getting right now. Aaron Hicks, this is him. He had one good year. That got him the contract, and the Yankees have been paying for it ever since. So, yeah, the easy choice is cut him, eat your losses. But the Yankees are not going to try and pay a player $10 million for 4 more years to not play for them. They just don't want to do it. Because if they would have, or if they wanted to, they would have done it already. They would have. That's
Of course they don't want to do it. I mean, we know what the Yankees thinking. They love Aaron Hicks. They adore the man. They've defended him every single day. They've given him even more opportunities than they gave Gary Sanchez, and they adored Gary Sanchez. They double and triple and quadruple down on Aaron Hicks. We know that. This is obvious. They see what no one else in baseball sees in Aaron Hicks. And although they're baseball savant obsessed and stat obsessed, they overlook it for Aaron Hicks because every single metric in the single world, Aaron Hicks is completely and utterly the worst player in baseball apart from walking. He's good at walking. But the Yankees continue to defend it. But the thing is, my only point is quite simple. It's not a meritocracy. And Andujar has merited his spot in left field. He has merited that. He's a better left fielder than Aaron Hicks is. He's a better left fielder than Joey Gallo is. Joey Gallo is obviously a really good right fielder, but he's not very good in left field. And Andujar's been better than both in left field. And he's been better than both offensively as well. I don't want to see that. I don't care about his WRC plus. Just the plain eyes tell you he can rope a double every single time he comes up. That is something that really could help lengthen this lineup, and it certainly did because he was batting in the middle of the order every single day for about a month, and he was very much focal point of helping us win ball games, and then he gets cut in a crunch. It has nothing to do with him, and that's my only point. It's not really fair on the guy. It's not fair on him to sit in AAA when he's got a major league bat, and he's got a career to look out for. His career is, if he continues to sit out the rest of the year in AAA waiting for Aaron Hicks to get hurt or Joey Gallo to get hurt, and then what? He comes back up again, and what is he going to do? He's going to bat. What? He's going to get in a rhythm and start doing well, and then and then what? They're going to DFA him once Aaron Hicks is fully fit again. I mean, that's the predicament we're in with Aaron Hicks and Andujar, and it's not really fair on the guy. The Yankees, it isn't the meritocracy, man. They are valuing Aaron Hicks far higher than anyone else does. Yes, he's a switch hitter, but he's terrible from the left side. Yes, he can play left field, but he's terrible at left field. So all the things that the reasons for keeping Aaron Hicks is not performance-wise, man. It's purely because they've given him a contract far overinflating his value for one decent year. And I actually hazard a big statement here. And Andujar has actually been better than Aaron Hicks has his entire Yankee career. And Andujar had that Rookie of the Year quality year in his first year at bat. And now he comes up and he's been just as good this time. And the Yankees kind of find excuses to send him down again. I think it's mistreatment, but the Yankees like to do that. If they don't value somebody as highly as they probably should, they don't really mind just sending them down to AAA. I just don't think it's a very fair way to treat somebody. If they package him for Benintendi, then fine. But what they really should be doing is simply just moving on from Aaron Hicks and sucking it up. He doesn't have any value anyway. If you get a trade for Aaron Hicks, it'll be for a single A non-prospect. So you might as well just suck it up, admit your mistake, and give Andujar a chance. If it doesn't work out, then you go and make a deal for Benintendi. You might as well try from within. The Yankees have been winning despite Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks. But I agree with you, Rob, because at least Joey Gallo gives you a monicum of value. He can at least hit you 40 home runs by accident, of course, because he's not a good baseball player. But he also has a power arm in right field, which is also useful too. And he draws walks. So if you stick him in the bottom of the order, it's not a complete catastrophe, but it's still pretty bad. If you look at his metrics and his baseball savant stuff, it's ugly. He's in the bottom 1% in whiff percentage, and so that means he's basically the worst player in baseball at it, and he's in the bottom 5% in batting average. So he's just garbage. But at least he gives you some kind of value. Aaron Hicks gives you absolutely no value. At least Joey Gallo's contract expires at the end of this year, so the Yankees don't have to re-sign him. They could maybe get something in return for him if a team wants, like a Padres, for instance. They do need an outfielder that has some power potential. That at least you can explore a trade with Joey Gallo. There's no trade to explore with Aaron Hicks. No one's going to want to sit and absorb 4 years on him. With his injury history and the fact that he doesn't even like baseball that much, no one's going to do it. Might as well DFA him.
No, but that just means, from the way you're breaking it down, that just gives us the no choice but to deal with Hicks for the next 4 years, because nobody's going to want to take him. Gallows, he's a free agent after this season. He's more movable than Hicks. So either way, we're stuck with Hicks. And so,
unless you just release him,
that's also an option. But Yankees aren't going to do that. They sat with Ellsbury for how long? They just, even though at least Ellsbury wasn't, he was on injury, so a lot of that they got back from the insurance. But it was, I just don't see that they're not going to eat that money. Their ego won't allow them to say that they were wrong.
No, that is a fact, but we already know that. It isn't a meritocracy.
It's not that. I don't think it's that they undervalue Andujar. I think it was just strictly that was the business move that they made. Andujar had the option. They moved Andujar. That's all it was.
I think they're going to give it at least until the All-Star break, which is still too long, because I got to take my fan cap off, because I'm in complete agreement with Donald. Aaron Hicks should not be here. He should not. There's no reason to play him.
I don't think he should be here either. That we all agree on.
Right. So in the Yankees' mind, they're going to say, remember the first couple of weeks where Aaron Hicks was hitting near 400 and he was getting on base and he was playing good defense and blah, blah, blah. They're going to try to get that again from him. But they keep putting him in the sixth spot, and they keep putting him in the middle of the order. And what I'm guessing is now that they got a full lineup again, Donaldson's back, Stanton's back, you can have him maybe bat seventh, but they're going to have to put him sixth. If Gallo keeps batting ninth, then Hicks has to bat sixth, because your 7-8 is Falefa and Trevino, whoever's catching that day. So you kind of have to hope that Gallo starts hitting home runs again to where you can put him in that sixth spot, because Aaron Hicks was kind of producing in the 9 hole. He was at least drawing walks, and he wasn't getting as many opportunities with runners on base. They're trying to get one of these two guys going again, but they're playing them at the exact same time, which is giving you almost 3 automatic outs. If it's a day like the other night where we had Higgy, Hicks, and Gallo all batting after each other, it was 3 automatic outs. You can't have that in a lineup, even though we're winning games despite it. They're hoping that one of those two guys gets going. And if I had to put my money on it, it'd be Gallo, because at least he can hit the home run, where Aaron Hicks has only got one. There's 1 home run this year. So the one thing he should be able to do in Yankee Stadium, hitting from the left side of the plate, he's not doing. At least Gallo's got 6 now, which is better than 1, I guess. But they've both been unproductive. You have to hope that Gallo starts hitting home runs again. That'll bump up his value. San Diego might say, change the scenery, hitters park, let Petco. They'll make a move for him. Maybe. You won't get much for him, but at least you'll get something. You can't get anything for Aaron Hicks right now. So, yeah, the easy choice, cut him, eat your losses. But if they wanted to do it, they would have done it. And they're going to wait until the All-Star break, I think, before they make a decision there. Now, is Andujar going to want to wait till then? No, but he might not have a choice if they don't trade him. It's not like when he says, I want to trade, the Yankees have to be like, okay, well, we'll trade you tomorrow. That's not how it works. They could, but will they? Again, they're going to want to get something for him. So I'm trying to, the fan in me saying, cut Aaron Hicks. Like, if this was a video game, you cut him and you call up Andujar, right? It's not that easy, though. I would love for Aaron Hicks to be off this team. I would love for Andujar to be on this team. It would have happened already if that was what the Yankees wanted to do. So for whatever reason, they're going to continue to stick Aaron Hicks in the lineup. And hopefully Stanton's calf is 100% to where he can play left field every so often again, to where Hicks is becoming the fourth outfielder. But again, he's going to play. I almost guarantee he's in the lineup tonight. I would be willing to put money on it, that he's going to be in left field, Judge will be in center, and Gallows in right, and Stanton's DH.
Here's what Gary Sanchez had to say. In my opinion, it's time for them or any other team to give him an opportunity. He deserves to play in the big leagues. He's done a good job offensively, but also defensively. He's come a long way defensively, and he's shown that he's capable of staying in the big leagues. He deserves an opportunity on another team. And this is this is obviously against what Tad's idea is, just to have him sit in AAA. As Sanchez further goes, if I was in his shoes, I'd probably be thinking about the same thing, asking for a trade, because it's really difficult when you're ready, when you have shown you're ready to then just be sent down to AAA and play in AAA when you deserve to be in the big leagues. You have to think about the human being, not just the fact that, oh, he's got an option. And he is far too good to be sitting in AAA. So it is unfair on him just to have him just sit there. And for what I believe is when the Yankees sent him down to AAA, he didn't report to AAA. He's really upset about it, and he has every right to be. So you can't just have him just go, oh, you're stuck in AAA. We'll figure it out later. It's not fair on the guy. So you have to shit or get off the pan.
I never said it was fair. I just said that was the move they made. That was the move that they felt they had to make.
No, but you did say, oh, you can just sit in AAA. It's not what I want, but he just has to sit in AAA. But you also have to think about the fact that he is too good to be in AAA.
If I'm owning a business, I'm not just gonna throw money away on an employee, as bad as he is. I'm trying to think how to put a good analogy to this.
There is none.
There really is none. Especially because you're dealing with, especially when the employee you're referencing is Hicks. Yeah, I'd rather just.
He would have been fired if
a million times over.
If it was your job, Tats, right, and you had an employee that was as bad at his job as Aaron Hicks, would you say, well, we're paying him kind of a bit? You'd fire him, right? Because he's hurting your entire team.
There you go, Rob.
You know what?
Basically said it, Tats. If you had somebody who was really bad at his job, right, and you're actually covering his ass, and for say you only work 3 days a week, which is basically Andujar was doing, and then that 3 days a week you cover his ass for all the guy's mistakes for the past 6 months, right?
I do that a lot.
And then you get demoted to, I don't know, fucking cleaning lady, and he gets promoted up to fucking something else. You'd be fucking pissed off. You wouldn't go, oh, well, you know what? I can't blame the business. They've got a lot invested in the guy. No, you'd be like, listen, I'm better than that motherfucker. Why am I having to sit back here?
Sorry,
I'm doing his job better than that guy. Why am I sitting down here? Why am I cleaning the tables? I need to be promoted. So I don't think that there's any way you can justify it. It doesn't need to be that complicated. We know the Yankees love Aaron Hicks. He's not a good baseball player. It's that simple.
This podcast is rated M for mature.
Yeah. This portion is definitely not for kids. The Yankees have really put themselves in a no-win situation. That's really, that's going to be how I'm wrapping this up. It's a no-win situation. You're either going to be throwing money away that you're getting nothing for from a player that you're really getting nothing from, or you have a guy that, if you really need to, you can call him back up. I think that Andujar at some point before the deadline will be up. The other aspect of it that we didn't get to is the fact that the expanded playoffs not as many teams are going to be willing to get rid of players. So we don't know if that's going to diminish the trade market at all. So you might not have the players that from teams you expected to be available. That list is going to be short, because some teams are going to feel like, well, a couple of good weeks and we're right back in it. So they're not willing to sell anything off. So
if it's Benintendi, the Kansas City Royals are not competing for a playoff spot. And if it's Ian Happ, the Cubs are not competing for a playoff spot. So I think the Yankees know who they need. They need an outfielder. They have one sitting in AAA they can use right now. That's the whole point of this thing right now. And that's why the fan in me says, get Andujar back, cut Aaron Hicks. But I know what the Yankees are thinking here. The Yankees don't want to eat that money. They should, because I'd rather pay the guy to sit at home and not play for me than pay him to play for me and play like crap. That's what he's doing. You're playing him every single day. If he was your fourth outfielder and you're like, all right, well, maybe he can come up, draw a walk, or we could put him in the outfield for late inning replacement. Okay, I'm not thrilled with it for $10 million, but it's better than him starting every single day. He's starting every single day. And for whatever reason, the baseball gods keep putting him in situations with runners in scoring position just to mess with me, just to piss me off, because I know what's going to happen. He's not good. And at the time of his contract, I think they bought out arbitration and they were like, let's give you an extra 3. They just should not have given him the length that they did. Let's be honest.
Length is hurting him right now.
The length is hurting them. The numbers weren't bad because for his 2018 season, he was worth more than $10 million. But that's 1 year. That's 1 year riddled by and surrounding it with injuries and bad play. So, yeah, the obvious choice is, from the Yankees' perspective, is you send Andujar down and you pray that Hicks or Gallo get going and you can move them, get something back, and then you can make another move for an outfielder and probably involve Andujar in that trade. The fan choice, the probably easier choice, is you cut Aaron Hicks and you'd be done with it.
Well, just look at it this way, right? They signed Matt Carpenter, right? Now, he has not been a very good baseball player in about 2-3 years, right? And they gave him a shot. And in 8 games, he's given you 4 home runs. And 10 times the at-bats, Aaron Hicks has given you 1 home run. So in a 10th of the opportunities that Aaron Hicks has been given this year, Matt Carpenter is 4 times as good as Aaron Hicks. And that's Matt Carpenter, who was picked up for nothing. So it tells you everything. They don't need to be this beholden to Aaron Hicks. They really do not need to be this beholden to the guy. They are obsessed with him for whatever reason. But the Matt Carpenter signing tells you how bad Aaron Hicks has been, because Matt Carpenter has come in and he's better than him in about 8 games. It's stupendous how bad Aaron Hicks is. So I don't think we really need to be that complicated about it. I think you can move on from him. And it's the only thing that's going to cost you is money. It's not going to hurt you in the win column, that's for sure. It's going to help you. Now, am I saying that Andujar is the future left fielder from now on? No. I think I don't want fans to take away this point that I'm just saying Andujar is the next all-star. I'm just saying he's earned his opportunity, at least for the next few months. And then you see where you are up to the trade deadline. If he's not the answer, then the only thing that is actually, it's going to help his trade value. He's going to have trade value. He's going to have better trade value in the major leagues, playing every day for the next month than having him sit in AAA. And I think that he's earned his opportunity. If he doesn't step up and take it, then that's one thing. Then at least we have a trade chip and we have a bunch of millions of prospects we can go and get our Benintendi. But he's earned the shot. Aaron Hicks has had his shot. Aaron Hicks has had 6 years worth of shots, and he's not taking it. So it's time just to move on, whatever it takes, move on. I'm really glad that Andujar said something, because we've done this to a bunch of prospects. We've done this to a bunch of guys where they just send them down, bring them up, send them down, and it destroyed Clint Frazier. And the Yankees did have a hand in that. Now, Frazier is a much worse left fielder than Andujar ever has been, but Frazier had a lot of potential, and the Yankees killed it with this whole up, down, up, down, up, down, and now he's lost, right? And Duhar's basically putting his foot down, going, I'm not going to take part in this nonsense because it's not helping me any. I've got a career to look after. And that's what Gary Sanchez is saying. So, these guys are professionals, man. These are professional ball players. They've got a career to worry about, family to feed. And Duhar's not going to get any kind of contract when he's sitting in AAA. So he has every right to request a trade. And I think the Yankees need to shit or get off the pan. They either need to trade him or they need to find a way to give him a shot.
We know Andujar can hit. That's the thing that bothers me is like this lineup is really, 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 really good. Even with Joey Gallo. If you put Andujar in Hicks's spot and you rotate him and Stanton, Andujar DHs, Stanton plays left, Andujar plays left, Stanton DHs, or you get Carpenter in there. This lineup is really, really good, even with Gallo. And it's just one simple move. I've been advocating for Hicks, and we all have, to get Aaron Hicks out of here since we started doing this damn show. So, I mean, it's not like we want Aaron Hicks to be here. I don't want people thinking I'm defending Aaron Hicks. You just look at my Twitter. I've been cursing the guy's name for the whole season. I can't stand him. I just can't help but take the fan cap off for a second. But the fan in me is just like Donald right now. Get Aaron Hicks out of here. He has no business playing right now. He sucks. Any of us can do what he is doing right now, which is a whole lot of nothing. Nothing. He's not drawing walks, even though his on base is over 300. If Andujar comes up, hits 250, 260, gets some doubles, we know he has power. He showed in his rookie year he can hit doubles, but he can also hit home runs, and he just plays an adequate left field. It's better than Aaron Hicks. And maybe you don't have to make a move, although you probably still should go get an outfielder if Benintendi's on the market. But at least you know that Andujar is there, and when he's here, he's done nothing but hit every single time he's been up here. Aaron Hicks has been given a full 2 months now and a week into June to do something. He's had a good week. Andujar's already had himself a good week. So they're basically the same player if you want to turn their best week that they've had. Andujar's already better. And when you compare Andujar to Hicks, Andujar looks like Aaron Judge because Aaron Hicks is that bad. You have to get rid of him. Why aren't they doing it? I wish I could answer you that question. My thought process is they want to try to get something for him, but you can't. You'd be lucky to get a mouse pad for the guy right now for Brian Cashman's office. You can't get anything for him. No one's going to take 4 years, another $40 million or so.
That's it.
Of Aaron Hicks. So yeah, they should let him go, but they also probably don't want to be paying this guy another 4 years to not play for them. Although that's the best choice is to let him go play golf. You pay him to play golf, but guess what? You're going to win more games than you already have without Aaron Hicks. He's already cost us about 2 games this year,
minimum,
which is already enough to be like, yeah, get rid of him. I want him gone. I can't stand the guy. I can't stand looking at him. I can't stand his golf swing, the way that he runs in left field. I don't like him. No Yankee fan likes him. The Yankees like him for some reason. Aaron Boone, though, has not defended him the way he has in the past.
No.
And they are starting to sour on him and Gallo a little bit because remember the other day they did pinch hit for Gallo even though he hit a home run to tie the game. They still took him out of the game. So they're not necessarily married to them, but yet they sent Andujar down to keep Aaron Hicks up. I don't want them to get rid of Gallo just yet because his value isn't there. Like I said before, I'm willing to hold on to Gallo. It's Aaron Hicks that needs to go. And he's
That's
needed
a
to go.
good point, man. If you read between the lines what Aaron Boone's been saying, well, he was nothing but complimentary of Andujar. And he just kept emphasizing how difficult it was to do that, to send him down. I think in his heart of hearts, he wishes he didn't have to do it. It obviously came from upstairs. This was a Brian Cashman thing. He obviously can't go against his general manager, so he just has to suck it up and get rid of a guy who I think he's genuinely likes, and I think he genuinely liked putting him in the 5th or 6th hole and trust that he's going to come through every day. It's quite clear optically what he thinks of Joey Gallo. He puts Batting 9th. Guy's batting 9th, man. The only reason he's batting 9th is because he can't bat him 10th. So that tells you everything he thinks of what Joey Gallo is right now. And Aaron Hicks, he's tied. He's only tied to Aaron Hicks because Brian Cashman's tied to Aaron Hicks, and he's just having to play him every day because Brian Cashman is asking him to. It sucks. It kind of sucks for Aaron Boone. I mean, if he had more, I think if this was the old days, he'd have more clout, like the Joe Torre would have more clout, and he'd probably just say, "No, I ain't get rid of this guy. You do whatever you need to do, but I ain't sending him down." In the modern era, managers don't have that kind of power, which kind of sucks because I think Aaron Boone, I think in his heart of hearts, I think he'd love to keep Andujar and have Aaron Hicks off the roster. Well, especially Joey Gallo. I don't think he's a massive fan of Gallo. Just the way he talks about him. He doesn't say anything bad about him. He's just not complimentary of him, and that's the only way you can read between the lines.
No, he's not protecting or talking them
No, he's
up
not.
the way he was
That's
last
it.
year.
Yeah, he defended him and defended him and defended him as he did Hicks all last year. This year, I've not seen too much defense. It's the same with Chapman. He ain't defending Chapman this year at all. So I just think that it sucks. It's a tough situation. I'm not even being a reactionary fan. I'm actually just saying all baseball teams should act in terms of meritocracy. If you've earned your spot and you're better than the other guy who's paid more, then I'm sorry, you just got to play him, and then you got to figure it out later. Most teams operate like that. The Angels have operated like that. Even the Orioles operated like that when they caught a dude that had a lot of money, but was batting like 100. What was his name again?
Oh, Davis.
Yep.
Davis, exactly. So a bunch of teams do that. If you're not productive and you've got better guys below you, you just have to just suck it up, man. You just have to eat the money and just move on. And most teams do it. And it's not just because they're not contenders. Sometimes contending teams do it as well. I mean, remember the Padres got rid of Robinson Cano super fast. The Mets cut Robinson Cano super fast. If you ain't good, doesn't matter how good your contract is or how big your contract is, you just ain't good. The Mets are a serious contending franchise, and they got rid of Robinson Cano like that. And he had a horrible contract. So it can be done. It's just the Yankees are refusing to do it. And it's not a good look for them, man. It should be a meritocracy.
All right. Well, on that, that's going to wrap things up for us today. Remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you thought about the Andujar move and what the Yankees should do moving forward for the year as far as that left field spot. Check us out on sportname.com/player, on Northeast Streaming Sports on Roku, where you pinstripe your pride and play hard.